to do. Sometimes we have people ask questions from YouTube too. Okay.
Also, we treat each other with respect. And if you are unclear, you can ask the question in the chat or queue.
All right. So I want to say welcome again to another session of this mentorship program. Today I don't I don't have slides today, but we'll discuss something and then. Sorry, one minute. So we'll be able to move to a next phase, something we actually discussed sometimes ago, about how to relate more, like interact more. We'll be able to do that today. We'll start that today. And let me see. Yeah, maybe I just not block my background. All right. So today, as I mentioned in the email, we will be discussing what do I call it? Discussing about careers, and then I'd actually named it navigating your career. So if I had made a what do you call it now, PowerPoint, it would have been navigating your career. Today's session will be short because that navigating your career, it will be a stretch of interaction for us, which will go into applications, into schools, and all these things for as many as those who are interested in that launch into that. But for those just joining in, let me warn you that for today's session, you will hear a lot of background noises. You probably have started hearing some of them. Those are my kids in the background. I'm babysitting today, so we are doing babysitting and then doing meeting together. So it's what we'll navigate together. All right. For those who are joining on YouTube too, I'll say you're welcome, at least the limited participation from YouTube. Of course, we'll welcome questions too. I always welcome questions, but as I've always said, those who are here on Zoom are sort of the priority. And those of us on Zoom will take things deeper. And then that process of taking things deeper will start today. To start, just 1 minute. I'm trying to fix things. You know, when you are the engineer, you are the moderator, you are everything. My wife who used to help with moderating and doing a lot of stuff, she's not home today. So, okay. All right. So navigating your career, basically, I don't need to start telling you about careers. You know what career is, and endeavor you want to engage in for the long run, either to be able to contribute positively in a particular field or to be able to, some people, the career they are involved in is just a way of making money, so which is not a bad thing, right? And then, you know, when talking about career, many times we talk about passion, talk about your goals. And there's a saying that if your passion is not bringing food to your table, maybe you need to look for something to bring food to your table. So there are a lot of things people do to bring food to the table, and for a lot of people, that turns into a lifelong career. For some people, just it's just an avenue to make quick money and then switch into something else. For example, we have seen those who taught to send themselves to school, to go to school. They were teaching either in schools, um, teaching, what do you call it now? Doing personal tutoring and the likes. And eventually that did not become a career for them. They studied to be an engineer, and eventually they went in that direction. Some people, it's what people take as what do you call it now? As a side as recreational activity. That's what they take as passion. I mean, that's what they take as a career. For example, some of us go to play soccer, football once in a while. But for some people, that's their career. Okay, some people love taking photograph pictures. You have your iPhone, you have all these things, and then people take pictures. Oh, you are good, this and that. Some people take photography as a career. I have a brother, a younger brother who is into photography, and that's what it does. Okay, but he studied to be an engineer. He's an engineer, but he just graduated. He's an engineer, but what he does is photography. That's I don't know how long he's in for it, but again, it's been building himself in that direction for a long time, even while in school. That's a career for many. Some people are photographers. They are, these national geographies. You have them, you have their photographers who take pictures for them, who do a lot of things. Those are real photo professional stuff who are into it. And the thing is, there's many things we want to do in terms of career that people look down on as something not important, something not worthy. Okay, I remember in those days, football, for example, would have been a taboo in many homes. Like, ah, you want to let me say it in Yoruba and they try to interpret it. Ó fẹ́ fi gbogbo ayé ẹ̀ máa gbá bọ́ọ̀, kìíní kan bọ́ọ̀lù fẹ́ máa gbá, o ò kàwé, o ò ṣe kíní, this and that. And things have changed today. You see our parents, and what that simply means is someone saying, oh, you want to spend all your life just playing ball, you want to spend your life playing around, messing around, you don't want to read your books and the lives. And then today, things have changed. You see parents now even encouraging their children to go into sport. 1 minute, right? You guys are making a lot of noise. All right. And then you see a lot of things have changed now. It's very possible now that people will study to be a pharmacist and the person um, goes into one kind of sport. For example, we have this Nigerian footballer, this lady, she's into cancer research, but she's also a professional footballer. And she has a club. She plays for a club in the USA. She plays for Nigeria. What's her name again? I've forgotten her name. But this very young, very nice lady. And she's doing well as having it as a career. In fact, it seems as if the cancer research she's doing is like the side also. Okay, so things have changed this day. A lot of things can become what we call career. Now, Nathan, Imana, what are you looking for? Now, people bake cake, for example. We have people who are baking cake, and that's what they do as a career, and they are developing themselves. They are making progress every single day, and they are getting better and better and better. So sometimes some skills that we have that we sometimes neglect can become a career. And that's the problem we've come to face in Nigeria because of the way the country is. Now that I've been in the US for a while, 5 years plus now, I've seen what people have as career. Many things in Nigeria, people will not consider worthy enough. Okay. For example, you might have people, in fact, let me even give you an example. My boy resumed kindergarten. Uh, it's 2 weeks now. He has been to school for 2 weeks now. And then every morning when I take him to school, I see some folks, oh, what they do is like traffic warden. They stay on the road, put the stop sign up so that students can cross to the other side. That's what they do every day. Now, that has become a sort of career for such people. And in fact, I used to see a car parked somewhere around that side every day. And I kept wondering, who owns this beautiful, nice car? And I think yesterday or day before yesterday, I saw the woman that used to do the traffic warden, like ask cars to stop. help children to cross the road. And then I saw her coming out of that beautiful car. I was like, wow, beautiful. Now, some such people will end because this is the US, I know. Such people, they will take them through trainings regularly. And if you see these people talk about their job, you see how passionate they are about it. They've made it a career. They've made a career out of it. And they are developing themselves, getting good. They will organize conferences for those who do traffic, whatever, controlling. And then they will talk about theory of a lot of things. Okay. And these are things that um, a lot of people are doing and they are making headway out of it. But in Nigeria, you can't see such happen because it's, of course, number one, there's a money factor. It's not lucrative. We don't even know those who do. Maybe the security guards are those who do that in Nigeria. Okay. But this long and short is that there are a lot of things, a lot of skills that people have that can turn into career. I used to say to people, and I still believe it today, not everyone will have to go through schooling officially as it is. Okay, it's because of the way that the country is. In Nigeria, for example, there should have been technical schools who specialize in technical stuff. There should have been schools that specialize in arts and vocational stuff or entrepreneurship stuff. There are a lot of those schools like that here that people don't even go to conventional regular university. I've met a lot of, maybe most of the people I've met outside of school, outside of campus. Those I've met outside of campus, most of them, a large percentage of them don't have the college degree. They don't, when they hear you are doing masters or the to now even talk about PhD, it's like, wow, you're like a star. And they have their own career. Some of them, their career is just, they will say, my career is in retail, and then they do all those things. But for those of us in Nigeria, we have a very peculiar situation, okay, because of the way the country is. For example, someone who is a carpenter, for example, in Nigeria may not be able to say, be bold to talk about his work the same way someone who is a carpenter here in the US will. But someone who is a carpenter in the US is probably earning more. They are growing, they have nice, all those things are available to them that they actually need. And that's why education was at least to BSc level is very important. Now in Nigeria, trying to mute people, I don't know where that little background noise is coming from. Please, you can mute yourself. Especially if there's a background noise from your side. All right, thank you, Oluwabumi. So that's why in Nigeria, most of us will have to go through education. For example, I don't know what I would have been personally without education. Okay? And the way we navigate our career can differ. In fact, the journey may be different for different people. It doesn't have to be, well, you don't even have to know everything out from the onset that this is a career I'll be going into, this is where I will end up. You don't have to know it onset. My own philosophy is just to start getting serious with your life as early as possible. People will dabble into a lot of things. I know someone, he did physics, he had a first class in physics. Asked me what he came to study in the US. MBA, how he's into business things. Okay, some people are just into that kind of thing. Now, it changes for a lot of people. There are a lot of people, there are some people now that they are just into agriculture now. They started with something else. They are into something totally different now. Please permit me, give me 1 minute. Remember, I said I'm babysitting today. So as I'm doing this meeting, there is one of the boys that is calling us. So just give me 1 minute. All right, sorry. It's not easy. It's not easy. Managing two boys. It's not easy. All right, where was I? So I was saying in our own situation, we might have to get a BSc, get MSc, get a lot of all these things to be able to navigate where we end up. So many people don't get it out straight away and just say, "Oh, my own career is into this and that." Like people don't get it. People just dabble into different things and then they find a chain eventually and stay there. Okay, but my own philosophy is don't let opportunities pass by you. If you have an opportunity to go to school, earn a BSc, earn it. If you have the opportunity to earn an MSc, earn that MSc. If you have an opportunity to earn a PhD degree, earn that PhD degree. Some people find what they will go into along the line. Okay, we have seen those who go into story writing along the line. For I know I read about someone as a PhD. Eventually, what the person went into was into writing. In fact, the person did a PhD, did a postdoc. What the person went into is writing for novels, writing novels. Please give me 1 minute. I have to attend to this boy. All right. Okay, okay. Sorry. I'm babysitting and doing all this together. It's not easy. Okay. So that's why we have to just take advantage of every opportunity. I've known people that what they learned while they were in the university on the sideline is what has become a career for them today. I remember when I was an undergraduate, I was, of course, chasing my first class in physics. I wanted to have that first class and all these things. And then I had the opportunity of learning CCNA, Cisco Certified Network Associate, and I was doing it for a while. And after a while, I just got realized I couldn't continue. I had to keep on pursuing that my first class. And then I have a friend, I have know someone who also did that CCNA, and that was what he started working with, and that is what is bringing food to his table. That's what is doing a lot of stuff for him. I have some example of some people too who were studying something totally different, and while they were on campus, they were just doing all these journalism club, all these, what do they call that club? And eventually, that's what became a career for them today, and they continue training themselves in that line. Some of them are journalists today, and that's what they actually do for a living, and they have as a career. So it will not be straight, and there will be challenges along the way. Okay, but for different people, we have to take different paths, and then you different paths before you arrive at what you can eventually call your career. And one beautiful thing I've learned again is that even after you have done something that you believe is your career for a while, things can change later on. Okay, so you don't want to box yourself into a corner and say, "Oh, I have made this my career. It must be this." No, it must. It's not compulsory that things can change. I have an example of someone. She came in, studied at FSU, Florida State University here. Um, she's American, of course. She did physics and then went ahead to do a PhD in is it particle physics or something? After the PhD, she did a postdoc for a while. She lectured in a college for a while. She taught in the college. But after a while, she just went into the corporate world, just went into some sort of industry. And what is she doing now? She's doing things about team management, networking, all these things. Those are the things she's doing for a company. Someone who did real core physics and totally switched and went into that. So sometimes some of these things go this way. They are not in a very straight direction. They are not in a very straight direction. So that's what you will face sometimes, and it happens to all of us. It will happen to all of us. Your career may not go that straight. You may be studying, let's say, a leg now, and then after a while, you did one or two things, and it's just not working, and then you just switch to something totally different. Okay, but let me reiterate this again. My working principle: make advantage of every opportunity that comes your way. Now we give that imagine leave that guitar. I will give you an example of my own blood brother. Which of the two should I give now? Okay, let me give the. I encourage both of them to do a lot of things. Actually, I'll just share for both of them. So for one, he was in school. Once when he finished secondary school, that gap between secondary school and higher institution, he just went and learned barbing and was doing barbing, trying to gain admission. Then he got admission into a polytechnic and went to a polytechnic. And while as a student in the polytechnic, he was doing his barbing. He continued with it. He was doing stuff. And when he finished, okay, he came back home. Um, he was trying to do the conversion, do the direct entry, and then while waiting during that period, I just encourage him. Hey, you might want to pick an additional skill. And he started learning photography. He went into photography, started doing photography once in a while, do his barbing things, and after a while, he got admission to university, direct entry, and he continued there and he continued with photography. And now his photography has grown now. Even while in school, he was doing weddings around, travel to this place today, do this tomorrow. If you have done wedding before, you will know how much these photographers charge for wedding. The point I was telling him, boy, you should be the one sending money to me, or when he talks about the camera he's trying to buy, this camera is 600K, this one lens is 800K, this one lens is 1.2. Man, hey, oh girl. And he just graduated, okay, and he has a tool at hand. Who knows which direction he will go, which one. Of course, photography is making more money for him now. He's not even really thinking of using his engineering skills to do anything. He's someone who had distinction in his HND thing. So now what's the point? He just had the opportunity of picking photography along the way. Then it's growing. It's growing, and I believe it's what we become. We grow to become something very big, very big. Okay, so don't pass away the opportunity to learn anything. Once the opportunity is there, just take it. Now he learned barbing too. Now he's not doing barbing again today. Maybe he does for maybe when it goes home, maybe when my parents are there, it just for my dad, maybe we do something for dad, maybe his colleague, maybe his friends, just kidding, just playing at home and doing all those things. Maybe he's gonna use the clipper and barb their hair and all those things. But he has taken photographies for what he's doing. Another sibling of mine, all this ASU strike, I'm one of those that would say, no, you cannot just sit at home. You can't just sit and be watching or just be watching Netflix or doing all these things. Said learn something. If anyone followed my tweets during all those ASU strike during 2020, okay, there was COVID 2020, 2021, 2022, all those period, you will see me encouraging people doing that a lot. A lot of people follow my tweet. This one, my brothers were not left that I pushed him, learn something, learn something, learn something. So learn tailoring, was doing good, did his tailoring stuff. No, after a while, you get there are more ASU strike, ASU breaks. There's a lot of things to do again. He got challenged. He said, okay, what can I said? pick something else, okay? He learned how to install CCTV, how to do all these networking thing, blah, blah, blah. He was doing that. He has a business profile. If you search his name on Google, you find his business profile. He was doing, installing things, going places, install CCTV, do for farms, do with, he has a boss that he does those things with. At the time, he learned refrigerating, how refrigerator works and all those stuff. I was just pushing them, learn something. Don't just sit down and say, I have to strike, or this is very cool. There's no way money is coming on. When he tells me, there's no money for transportation today, I will send him money, no excuse. And there's no excuse, I will send money. And after a while, he picked another thing. He started learning programming. Okay? And then he will say, there's no money, there's no light. I need money for generator. So I need a generator. I need to buy fuel in it. We got one generator. We took the one at home. We took it to the house and we start using that. God, I need money for fuel. I would say take money. I need money for network. And then after some months, he graduated from that coding school. And then he started searching for coding job. And then just like play, he got a job that started paying him. It was earning more than what I was earning as a graduate in Nigeria. And he was still a student who was on ASU strike. And of course, they resumed back. So, and then before you know it, that has become his own goal now. He also did engineering, did one of these engineering stuffs. He doesn't even care about the engineering thing again. He doesn't care about it. He's just doing his coding thing, learning. He's not interested, the way people talk about Japa, Japa, Japa. He's not an enthusiast of Japa. He's in Nigeria doing his own thing for companies, blah, blah, blah. And that was how he dabbled into it. And then that has become a career. So anything that comes along your way, don't give it up. Don't give. For me, as an example, I just love teaching. I started teaching when I finished secondary school. But before finishing secondary school, I've been teaching. Okay, and then I remember even during my jam when I was preparing for UTME, I was teaching in a secondary school. I was not getting paid. I would just go there, just teach their students, just leave. I was teaching in the center to just teach maybe those in secondary school SS class, just teach them. I was not getting paid. I was just doing it for the love of God, for the love of teaching, for the love of the students. Okay. And by the time I got into university, of course, I was teaching tutorials to some of my friends, uh, colleagues. And then before you know it, when someone came at the time, someone said, oh, he's looking for someone who's going to teach um, his sister or whatever. And the girl was writing A levels, and then they need someone to coach him. And then some people referred him to me in the department and said, oh, that guy can do it. It's good. And then I started charging. I was charging them. That was way back in 2011. 2011, I think. I was charging them 1,000 naira per hour. As a student, I was a student on campus. I was charging them 1,000 naira per hour. I would go to their house, teach the girl. So my goal is to teach 2 hours. So if the parents want me to teach as many hours as possible, they have the money, they could pay. But of course, I would just teach what I could teach. At the end of the week, they will pay me my money. They will calculate everything together. Those are some of the things I saved together to buy my first laptop. So teaching has been a thing in me. And when I graduated, it just became the natural thing for me to do, to teach. Just look for a teaching job. I just added in mind that's academics. That's what I want to do. And it started by just taking some opportunities that came along my way. Okay. I didn't just say these people are not paying me. That was when I was not getting paid. Like I can't teach them again because I just love teaching. I know the students I was teaching are paying to the school. They are paying the other part, the other center. They were paying to the center, but I was not getting paid. I was just teaching them, just teaching the students, just teaching. That was just what I do. Now, when I got my real official teaching job, when I was getting that job, they said the person must have teaching experience of maybe 2 or 3 years or something. I didn't have anything official as teaching experience, but all the teachings I've done in different places, those were the things I combined together in my CV, and that gave me that 2 years, and I was employed. Okay, when I started teaching advanced level physics, the A level, Cambridge A levels too, those were the experiences I gathered together and put together and submitted my CV and said, "Hey, this is my CV. I'm teaching." Okay, and that was how I entered into the world of teaching. There are a lot of folks who are into teaching that way too. Some who even studied maybe things like engineering. Some who studied things like um, but if I have a friend, I already told him I'm going to bring him to talk here. Um, he finished his PhD here in the US last year, but he's a professor now in a school in Pennsylvania. Uh, what is into, he studied mechanical engineering, okay? But what he's into now is more like the education part of it. He loves education. He just wants to see the teaching of science and technology. And that's what he has as a career. He's not into the world of doing the engineering thing, maybe working in an a construction company, in a mechanical stuff company, and doing all these things. No, what he is doing is just about teaching because that's his passion and it's bringing money to the table. Remember what I said at the beginning that if you have a passion, you want to make sure that if it's not bringing money to the table, you have something else that is bringing money to the table because that's important. Okay, you may have some things bringing money for you, which are not necessarily what you have as a career, so to speak. Okay, so now that's what maybe Oshumi probably will be here in the next meeting. Maybe next week I will inform you about the meeting we have next week. And now we're having, yeah, he's a professor now, he's an assistant professor in a US school, Pennsylvania State University, if I remember correctly. I have another friend, he's also finished his PhD last year, he's a professor in the University of South Florida. Of course, when I bring them, these are people that some of you might, depending on what you do, might want to contact for some of these. We'll talk about Japa things later anyway. But the point is, anything that you, some things you pick up along the way, they can become your your career that you continue to build on it and go on like that. Okay. Some people boxing, for example, is their career. They were just, I don't like boxing for yeah, for the what do you call it now? Uh, just for saying sake, I don't really like boxing for my family to be part of it. I can watch it, but I don't, it's too dangerous for me. And I feel for those who fight, but they get their lot of money. Okay. Now, some people just pick up boxing along the way. Maybe they were in school and then part of the clubs available to join is boxing club and they join the boxing club. And then before you know it, it became a career. And then they continue to go on that way. And it becomes a career for them boxing. Okay, some people is just the football along the way. If you attend a US school, for example, sports is a big part of the US school. Many of those you see competed at the Paris, just concluded Paris Olympics. Many of them are students. Many of them represent different schools. So, for example, you come out, this is, I mean, FSU, Florida State University. If I just get out of my house, walk down to the school, you will see this today is Saturday. You will probably see students running who are running, doing exercise. You see students playing lawn tennis, playing all these things. That's what they do. They practice regularly. If you go to the gym, you see them in the gym, walking, doing all this workout, doing a lot of stuff because this is part of their education, right? And some of them eventually don't do anything with the education, with what they studied, so to speak, and then they focus on the sports they participated in, and that becomes a career for them. So don't pass over the opportunity to learn anything along the way. If you didn't learn anything from all I've said, just pick this one thing. Don't pass the opportunity. Not everybody will have the formal academic, so to speak, career. And that's not the only thing you call as a career. Some people, radio journalism, radio stuff is just their thing. They just can talk and talk and talk. They didn't even study communications, okay? They study something totally different. And you see them on radio. There's this guy, Edmond Bilo, in Nigeria, in Ibadan. He's on, I can't remember which station he works with now. I don't even know. But he didn't study all this journalism, blah, blah, blah. But now what he does is this thing, he talks for a living. That's what he does. So don't be boxed into a corner. Don't be boxed into a corner. The world has changed so much. The world has changed so much. But while now someone may ask, what if I don't have any other side thing? And then does that mean I should not focus on my academics, or should I be looking for searching for a side thing that I think I can do, like a side skill, blah blah blah, side hustle, so to speak? No, I always advise people follow the normal pattern which has been set by the community generally. Go to school, finish high school, do university, have a BSc. If there's anything else you can do, if you can do masters, do it. If you desire a PhD, do it, while not looking down on opportunities around you. Okay. If you are BS, if you can get a job, get a job. Okay. Some people, their job, it is while they are doing their job, they discover that, oh, I can start doing YouTube thing too. And then they are into YouTube, and that became a career for them. Some people will spend the whole time of coming to the US to do all those things, get to the highest level possible. And eventually, in fact, what they will do is maybe just open a business thing, and that becomes like a career for them, and that's what they do for life. Okay, so um, don't don't minimize what don't minimize your skills, don't minimize opportunities around you. Very, very, very important. Now, before I allow questions, then to talk about actions we will take for those of us in this group. Uh, Let me ask throw a question to us, and let's have one or two people talk about it. Is there any of us that you think you are in that state of conflict, so to speak? You have something around you that you can do or that you do, which is not like the strict academic part, and you also have your academic part, and you guys like you have two things in your hands. Anyone like that? You want to talk? Yeah, Raphael, let's hear from you.
All right. Thank you very much, sir.
You just muted yourself again, Raphael. Okay,
Can you
now,
hear me, sir?
yes, loud and clear now.
All right. Thank you very much, sir, for the presentation, sir. It's very enlightening, and it's just like you spoke to me. Then I have two things currently going. I'm currently doing my master's in animal science, and right now I'm also in line of business in that I work as a publisher. So it's like a conflict between both. Okay, should I pursue academics, or should I just run with this other pathway? So it's something I had to deal with every single day, and that is it, sir.
I see, I see. So what I would say that situation is, so far it's still possible for you to do both. Just continue. Don't give it up. So far it's still possible until you get a clear-cut path, or until you become busy with one, that it's impossible to continue with the other. Okay. I hope that, because by the time you continue doing what you do, and as they begin to grow, it comes to a time where you become very busy with one, and then you find it easy to drop the other. That's very possible. For example, there are those who are now studying to the highest level possible, and then they have a side thing they do, and at some point in time, it becomes difficult to continue with both because the other one has also grown. So they just decide to focus on the other one that's grown. That's the advice I would give in that situation. All right, any
Okay.
other person in this type of conflicting, not conflicting, so, and then, on YouTube, Ephraim, I will answer your question. I will answer your question. Yes, please. All right, any other person in that kind of situation? Okay. All right, so let me open the floor for questions, and then I will announce what we will do going forward to maintain our group and then to keep the focus. Is Margaret still here? I can't see Margaret again. Ah, Margaret is not here. Okay, okay. All right, so let's take questions, but let me just read some questions from. I know these are not directly related uh, to what we are discussing here. Oh, Ephraim is asking, to apply to festival because I have try for Oh yeah, Ephraim, FSC started doing that. You have to do evaluation in your transcript. Anita, let me. So Anita, if you go through the channel, you see my email. You can uh, you can send me a message. Go through this channel. You will find my email there. You can send me a message. All right, Raphael, have I taken you? Yes, right. So Shegun is saying time itself is a revealer. Time itself is a revealer. Very true. Time
Yes,
itself.
I have a question. I have a question.
All right, Raphael.
Okay, I wanted to ask, is it possible, like I said, I'm currently doing my master's. Is
Yeah.
it possible that I can start applying for scholarship?
Oh, definitely, definitely, definitely. You can start applying for a scholarship. You can. Okay. In fact, you
Okay.
cannot even state it here that you what do you call it? You are currently in a master's program, almost you're almost rounding up, or you just talk about the level where you are. Okay.
Okay. Okay, okay, sir. All right, thank you very much, sir.
You're welcome. You're welcome. All right. So let's do this. Peace, are you here? I think I can see you, Peace.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, sir.
How are you doing, Peace?
I'm fine, thank you, sir.
So, this is August, and I know for a lot of people we've talked about having a group, creating a WhatsApp group, so to speak, and then for those who want to do applications to school and the like. This is August already, and then the time is around here that many schools will open their applications, and then people can apply. So, what we'll do, Peace, you will help us to create a WhatsApp group. Okay. If everyone can drop their contact in the chat box so that Peace will add us to the contact, to the WhatsApp group. Is that something doable?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, so please, you can drop your contact, your phone number in the chat box. I think it's time we come together and coalesce in a way, and then we have that WhatsApp group. Myself and Peace will communicate. So just some people may be wondering, how did I know Peace, this and that? Yeah, Peace, we've reached out, she reached out to me some times ago, and then we talked about some things that's concerning at school and education things. And of course, a lot of other people have been reaching out to me too. So don't be afraid to reach out if you have to. You have to. Those on YouTube saying, can they, oh Lord, this comes sound, and I would think about that. I have a group, special group here on on Zoom that is there. What we do on YouTube, uh, when the opportunity will come, let me just say that. Let me just say that. Sound, the opportunity will come. This is a real focal group here on Zoom, and we're doing stuff together. Okay, but the opportunity will come. Just keep watching. Keep keep what's the word now? Watch the opportunity will come. So this will create that WhatsApp group, and then you can know the plans of everyone, especially those who are interested in applications and receive what we can do. Now, in one of the sessions that will come later on, I will explain the details of writing, details about writing statements, because that's one of the things you will definitely need. And by the time I finish explaining, I will explain the details that goes into reviewing SOPs. Okay? And I will ask us, all those, let me drop, let's drop that SOP video. Let me see. 1 minute. I want to look for the. So, Rafa, you're asking, do you need to write GRE exam? If you're asking this question, you have not been following me enough for. So, because it depends on the school, right? It depends on the school. Let me send this video to this just wait, let me look for this video on SOP because I want to teach us even how to review. How I review SOP, I'll make a demonstration. People will see, you see how I review SOP, and you'll be able to review for each other. Now, what that will do is that number one, you will learn how I do it. Number two, you'll be able to do it for yourself, for another person, of course, and then practice amidst ourselves, reviewing SOP for each other, and then it will relieve the work on me too. I won't have to be reviewing 100 SOP the way I used to do. And then, Jesus had disciples, and then the disciples could also reach the nations too. Let me see, statement of purpose. Use, let me see, use statement of purpose. Okay, how to write your statement. So I have this the video is popular. You probably would have seen it before, but just in case, for the meeting where we have to start do this, I want statement of purpose. All right, so if you can get that video on statement of purpose, that is where I that is where I describe what statement of purpose should look like, what you should write there, what you should not write, describe it paragraph by paragraph, what it should actually be. Okay, so go through that link, check the video, watch it. Then, of course, when you start writing your statement, but we'll discuss this more in the group, and then be able to learn how to review, and then we review for each other. Today's meeting will be short. As I said, I didn't prepare a slide, so but next week I should have my friend here to talk more on career. He's a professor already, finished his PhD last year, and then he's an example of one of those who didn't really do exactly what they studied. I mean, he's doing what he studied, but in a different aspect, different dimension. So I'll bring him on next week. I should start speaking to him today. So let me answer a question, Jayola. So you're saying, does a professor has to be in your department? How do I know if the professor is giving grant? Which professor are you talking about? The person you are trying to apply to or something? From the school you're applying to? So if you're applying to a particular school, of course, the professor should be in the department. The professor you want to work with should be in that department. But there are different cases, different conditions which are not perfect, where the person is receiving something from a professor, but the professor is not in the person's department. Okay, that's an exception. Okay, but usually, if you're applying to a school, you're interested in such work of the professor, of one of the professors in the school. Okay, you are interested in the research work of one of the professors in the school, and then you are making that application to the school, to the department, but you have a professor there. So sometimes the funding can come from the professor, sometimes the funding will not come from the professor. I have a lot of videos on YouTube which I've done on many of these topics. So some of the questions, I know questions will come when we open the group. Some of your questions, I'll just require you to the video. I want us to be able to, I want to monitor those of you making the application. And then we'll be able to really do things together. And once this group is over, because of course we have a lot of topics, we still remember the what do you call it now? Uh, the presentation I made the last time. We have different topics which we'll cover. Yes, we will still cover them, but we just want to have that WhatsApp group to track the process for those who are doing this application. But of course, remember this group is much bigger than just that. All right. Before I go, let me see if there's any question again. Any question, any contribution, any concern, any issue at all? Or we end the meeting today. It's a short meeting today, just 1 hour as a plan. All right, okay, Johnson, yeah.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, good
Hi.
evening.
This is Gabriel.
Oh, Gabriel,
sir,
okay. Let's have Gabriel, then Johnson will have you after Gabriel.
Okay, thank you so much, sir, for all that you do. I can see how much sacrifice having to babysit and then do this. Thank you so much, sir. Sir, when you asked if okay, I think I emailed you. I studied estate management evaluation.
Yeah.
And then I'm transitioning. Yeah, I'm transitioning into data analytics. Now, there's a bit of conflict for me because I want to do my master's, obviously looking for scholarship. But then another thing I've discovered is that for estate management, as it were, the funding is rare. So now I would have to be flexible to probably shift into construction management or anything environmental. So a lot of things are now conflicting, thinking of which one to drop, which one to focus on, and how do one go about it? Because now if I would want to switch from estate management for sake of funding, I'll probably start to build around that place. I'll probably start looking for courses to apply for online, since I don't have a background in any of those probably environmental courses also. But then I'm still searching and I'm still looking for funding in the real estate, which has always been my thing. But then how do one go about placing a focus part time in what one wants to do? Given that all of them seem important as it were.
Yeah, so all of these things, these courses, they're somehow related, right? You did estate management, there should be a part of it that has to do with them. There are some courses that they don't really need you to have a first degree. For example, environmental science, as an example. Most people from different courses come out to do environmental science. It's something you can look into. And of course, it will always have an effect on uh, what do you call it now, on the estate management, estate thing you are doing. Construction management, there are some fundings in it too. Of course, not too much in abundance, but I've shared some of them before, I think on my Twitter page. I've shared some before. So look through each of those schools and check their requirement, their background requirement. Okay. So some courses may be add on what the background requirement should be. Like physics, for example, you can't do an MSc or PhD in physics without the physics background. Maybe sometimes they will take people from engineering, because engineering folks also have that a bit of the physics background that is needed. But some courses like environmental science are so broad that it should be the exact research you want to do that determines the background you need. And eventually, they may not need any special. So it's one of the things I will ask you to look into. You mentioned construction management is one of the things I'll definitely ask you to look into too. Okay, because again, it's close to what you do. Okay. And then estate management, it's more like the finished work. There are a lot of things around estate management that you can do that has to do with estate that eventually affects the management of estate or estate management or real estate, whichever name that is given to it. So I will ask you to explore all those avenues. Search for schools. I believe you know how to search for schools. If you don't, search my YouTube channel. I should have made more than one on how to search, but there's one that is very popular on how to search for school, which I've made before. And then search for it. You'll find it how to search for schools. I practically demonstrated how to search for school. I even used some of the less common courses. Fine art. I used fine art as an example. And we saw schools giving funding in fine arts when I did that exam. So just you follow that format, search for schools, look through the background requirements for each of those schools and check if that fits you. And one of the things that you can also do to help yourself is to do some online courses. If you discover that there's a particular background you want to go to, there's a particular field you want to go to, and you don't really have that much background there, and you can include in your statement of purpose the online course you have done to show that even though you didn't do a first degree in this field, you have some knowledge, background knowledge about this. So I think that's one of the things you can do.
All right, thank you, sir.
Very much welcome. All right. So Michael, Muta is saying, as a chemistry graduate student, can you find free funded scholarship? Yes, you can. Michael is saying, thank you for sharing us. Please include an MSc program on just computing while applying for graduate school. I mean, yeah, I mean, if you are applying to graduate school, I won't imagine you are doing a PhD, you are applying for a PhD. Yes, include it, and if it's an MSc program, depending on which MSc program it is, you can include it and be able to say the reason for searching for another one, for applying for another one. Okay. So yes, you can. It helps with your experience. It helps to say yes, you can cope with this. You've had an example of graduate education before, and you can from it now. You will not fail, you will not drop out, and all those things. So yes, that's very possible. All right. Okay. So if there's no other question, I think this is a good place to end today. It's 10:59 already, and then that's, so to speak, 1 hour. Uh, so for those who came late, you can go through the video on YouTube again. Just go through it on YouTube to catch up on some of the things you mentioned. So Praise, you can, when you finish up with the group, let me know, send me a message, let me know, and then let's talk. Then I of course join the group, and then the group, it won't be a group just to post anything. That's one of the reasons why I don't WhatsApp group that much, because of a lot of unsolicited postings and messages and the like. So we make sure people are not just disturbing different messages, trend messages in the group, and then really do things we want to do. Then of course we will come out here in our Zoom meetings to discuss, and then we can always do other things in the group. All right. Thank you so much for joining in. God bless you. I didn't see there is what's her name? She didn't drop her note because she probably early. But she has always, Margaret has always been has always been showing up. So I'll try and reach out to her. Nathaniel, you want to say hi? Okay. All right. Okay, good. For those of us, well, it's evening on our time, have a nice evening. For those of us on different planets, on different side, have a nice day too. God bless you. Real good.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Very much welcome.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you so much,
You're
sir. Thank you,
welcome.
sir.
Thank you,
Everybody.
sir. Thank you, sir.
Raphael, nice having you.
Thank you,
very much, sir.
Ogenerekwewe. I murdered that name. But thank you. Deborah, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Bye-bye, sir.
All right,
Bye.
bye, Deborah.
You really murdered the name. Oh.
Oh, I called it correctly. Okay, NS, nice. Tolilokwe, nice.